Hi, and welcome back into Zoom into Wellness. As you know, this has been an unprecedented year, and we've really continued to try find ways to help people connect with their community, connect with being healthy, and find ways to find peace in mind, body, and spirit through these very challenging times. For today's session of Zoom into Wellness, we're coming back to diabetes success stories, and I'm happy to have with me Allie Mattey. Allie Mattey I've known for some time, and she's got quite the story. So Allie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
You bet. So tell me a little bit about your diabetes story. Like, when were you diagnosed and how you were diagnosed?
Okay, so I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2017. I think it was around May 2017. I was pre-diabetic for about a year before that. I was pretty young at the time, and I didn't quite understand what pre-diabetic meant, and what being diabetic would mean for the rest of my life. So I didn't take it very seriously when I got the word that I was pre-diabetic. So
And
I
how old
went,
were you then?
oh gosh, you're gonna make me do math right now. Um, I was 18, I think.
Hmm.
So freshly into college, living my life, doing my thing, not putting a lot of emphasis on my health in general. Um, and then I went to a family doctor. She's a good family friend of ours, and we ran some blood work. My A1C came back at about 8.2, I think. So we decided I'm diabetic at that point, obviously. And I remember her saying things like, this is going to be your forever. You're always diabetic. You're always going to take these medications. These are things that are going to follow you the rest of your life. And so we made a plan. I started taking medications. I started tracking a lot, trying to figure out what worked best for me. So yeah, it all started back in 2017, I think.
Wow. And again, so being 18 and hearing all those things, that had to be overwhelming.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
and it sounds like you actually kind of, your first step was some kind of response in terms of like tracking. How did you receive that and, kind of internalize that to say, how am I going to do something about this?
Yeah. Um, so still I wasn't taking it too seriously. I didn't quite understand um, what I needed to do as a diabetic. You know, in general, health, I was like, okay, I need to eat better and I need to exercise. Got it. So I started tracking what I was eating. I took my blood sugars, I think 3 times a day. I took it first thing in the morning. I wrote down what I ate for breakfast. I ate lunch. I would take my sugar about 2 hours after lunch and 2 hours after dinner to kind of find trends in that. For a while, I was extra crazy, and I ate the same thing every day to see if my sugars were the same every day, and then I would just change one thing
Hmm.
to see how that one thing would affect me. So I took it really seriously there for a while. Um, it was about a year in, I got my second blood sugar check, and it was down to
Wow.
7.2, 7.3. So I made some good strides there. Um, I got kind of lazy again. It was probably still the same about a year later. But just recently I started taking it a lot more seriously. Start of 2020, actually, which was a crazy time to make a big life change, but it ended up working out really well for me. So yeah, I think and internally it was hard at first, but um, once I started figuring out what worked for me and thinking about it a little more deeply, I started doing a lot more research about it as well. I talked to you a lot when I would come see you and Casey. And I just think knowledge in general really helped me. So,
Yeah, and you said some things that really rung true to me. You did all this engagement up front, and really scientifically, you actually did that kind of isolation diet to see exactly what things were affecting your glucose, which is amazing. But you kind of, it sounds like you fell off the wagon after a year or so,
I
and
did.
that's pretty common in diabetes. Um, and I don't know if you remember what you were feeling at the time, or, it could be just that it's really hard, but I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I had a lot of big life changes happening. I was in college and I was not doing as well as I would have liked to be doing. You know, I was moving around a little bit, trying to navigate some things in my personal life. So that definitely did not help me. And I don't know, I just felt sad all the time. I was always sad and I didn't know why.
Sure.
So that was a big part of why I just kind of was like, meh, and gave up there for a little bit. But, you
And
know,
that's normal for a lot of
yeah,
people. That's a very common experience. And then of all times, 2020, the pandemic, you found new spirit. So what happened?
yeah. So I moved to Marietta in 2019. I'm working at a bank here, and one of my friends said, "Hey, do you want to go to a pound class?" And I was like,
Hmm.
I have no idea what that is. I thought it was like a drumming class, you know, we're going to learn to drum. And I said, sure, why not? After work that day, we walked into a gym and I had not exercised in, like 5 or 6 years at that point. And I was not ready. I didn't have tennis shoes. I didn't have the proper clothing. And pound is a workout where you use weighted drumsticks and you drum to a beat, right? And I instantly fell in love. I loved group exercise. I loved the vibrance of it all. The gym I go to is Rockstar Wellness in Marietta, and the owners, Rachel and Scott, are just so encouraging and great, and everyone there just wants you to succeed. So I instantly fell in love, and I kept going back, and I kept going back, and I kept going back. They started a nutrition program. So Rachel is a nutritionist or a registered nutrition. And she started a nutrition program. So we started doing some deeper dives into what we were eating. They did a local CSA box. Her family owns a farm. So we got weekly vegetables delivered to us, which was very helpful. I don't think I've ever eaten so many vegetables in my whole life. And I just fell in love with the way I was feeling. I felt happy leaving exercise, which was insane. Who knew you could be happy when you were exercising, right? And then I looked at food finally as fuel for my body more than anything. And I stopped using food as a way to celebrate victories, which was huge. That was how my family, that's how we were growing up, right? Something exciting would happen. Let's go out to dinner. Let's have friends over for a party and have lots of food and cool things. So once I stopped using food as a way to celebrate or a way to deal with any type of feeling, things really changed for me. Since I've become a Group X instructor, I now teach Pound.
Wow.
I got my Group X certification through ACE. I can teach amped resistance, and I'm currently getting an aerobics certification and a foam rolling certification. So a lot has changed there.
So if I heard correctly, a year ago, you had done zero exercise and exercise for the first time. And a year later, you're a certified instructor in multiple different classes?
In like 5 different formats, yes.
Wow.
So yeah, my first like 3 months or so of exercising, I just did like 1 class a week or so. And then COVID hit. So that was interesting. The gym, Rockstar, was really great about transitioning to all online. So since we were working from home, I was doing like 3 classes a night, probably, at least, on top of the nutrition coaching. I've also started doing personal training there, which is super fun. Yeah, so COVID helped me actually. I was able to really slow my life down and think about things that were more important and dive a little deeper into the exercise side of things. And it really, really pushed me to get these certifications and just really change the way I think about things.
So you used this pandemic as an opportunity to reset, and it sounds like you made your orientation to food different. Sounds like you really engaged in physical activity. How did that affect your glucose? How did that affect your meds? You know, because again, it's healthy for all parts of your body, but I know that your original challenge was diabetes. So how
Yeah.
did that affect diabetes?
Significantly. My sugars started going down significantly, obviously. Before, when I would wake up in the morning, my sugars would be, in the 140s, 150s, which is not as good as I'd want them to be, obviously. So my sugar started going down, which was awesome, in May of 2020. So a little bit into my exercise, I got my A1C checked again, and it was at a 5.2, which
Wow.
was insane. Something that I was not expecting that at all. And I just got it checked again this week, and I'm down to a 5, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
It
we're
was
gonna start
8.6 at its highest?
8.3, 8.2, something like that.
Okay.
And I'm
Wow.
down to 5 now, which is awesome. My doctor and I are going to start taking me off of my medication, so I won't be medicine dependent, which is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be really fun.
That's just incredible. So have there been any other changes other than like did your blood pressure change? Did your weight change? Did anything else change as a response to all these things?
Yeah, so my weight definitely has changed. I've lost 80 pounds. I lost 80 pounds in my first
Wow.
year. Continuing, I still have a long way to go, but 80 pounds feels pretty incredible. I
That's
think
incredible.
the best change that I've seen though is just my mood. I just feel like such a different person. I feel happier. Even on like the rainy days, I can see the sun, and it just feels good to be alive and spreading kindness and excitement about wellness in general. I feel like I'm able to help people that were in a situation that I was in, which is so rewarding. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
that is. And that sadness is not pervasive so much anymore that you
No,
had a
not at
few
all.
years ago.
No.
Wow. So, I think that your experience as a young person, feeling invincible, like I'll worry about this later, those things, you're different in that you've acted upon it and you've really taken charge. If you could give a message to other young people, what message would you give? And I realize that every person's different, right? So there's not one way to health. So, but what would you share? What would you want to share to your peers?
Um, I think the most important thing is just starting. I think that's the scary part, right? So you get told this big news, or something, you need to change, right? People always say you need to do better, you need to change, something needs to happen. Um, and as a young person that's new, even if you're not young and you just don't understand what's going on, it can be scary to jump in, and just doing anything is better than doing nothing and just sitting there in your fear, right? So
Mm.
my first step was, I'm not changing my diet at all. I'm just gonna write it down. Just writing it down. Whatever I eat gets written down on a piece of paper. So and then it was a little scary to like step back and be like, wow, look at what I'm eating. This is not good. I think journaling is really important though, or tracking in any way. Tracking is important. So just start, whatever it is. If you want to start with your diet, if you want to start with exercise, you just got to get up and do it. It's not going to feel good the first time you do it, but one day you're going to look back and say, wow, how did I live life without doing these things? So yeah.
Wow. Well, I think you are just absolutely amazing. And I am just so happy to hear your success story. Of course, I've seen you in your success story, and you inspire me every time I see you. And I'm so proud of the things you're doing, and glad to see you loving life. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us in the Zoom into Wellness. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Please see all of our webinars, including our topics that were occurring in 2020, our interviews that are in 2021, and you can see a full range of videos, including cooking demonstrations, physical fitness, and interviews. And we want to be well with you and zoom into a new beginning in 2021 with wellness. So thank you.